Yeah, I already did that.
Prologue. I fall a lot. And there are a couple of reasons for this. One, I have very poor gross and fine motor control. And number two, a lot of times when I'm moving forward, I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. When I was younger, this led to a series of increasingly Wile E. Coyote-esque and grotesque falls. So if you want to, step out, that's where this is going. So when I was 5, I was sitting on a chair eating an orange, and I was balancing back and forth on the top of the chair, and my mom was telling me to stop. And I didn't stop because it was the most fun, and because I didn't yet know what balance was. But I fell backwards, and I got to the point where I was moving back, and gravity was pulling me down, and I started to swing my arms around like this, and eventually I balanced myself back up, but I had swung them too fast, so I swung inward, and my chin slammed on the edge of the kitchen counter, pushed me backwards, and I slammed my head on the floor. And so my chin is like bleeding profusely, and my mom is one of those people who, when she shows her care, shows it sometimes by getting angry. And she was like, I told you this was going to happen if you did this, that you were going to die. And I was like, Mom, it's not really a good time. But I got stitches, and it eventually worked out, but it gets worse. When I was about 8, I had a hernia operation. And the doctor told my mom and I that I wasn't allowed to go outside, and it was the end of the summer, and trying to keep an 8-year-old inside in the summer is like trying to contain a tornado in like a Fiji water bottle. I don't know why it's a Fiji bottle, but eventually, like on the last day before I was allowed to go out, before I was going back to the doctor, my mom like had to let me go. She let me outside, and so I was wearing water shoes. Do you remember water shoes?
Yeah.
All right, so I was wearing water shoes, and I was like insane, like I needed to run around for a little while, and so I ran down my alley in Northeast Philadelphia, and I was swinging my arms around and around, and just, so happy to be outside, and I was running down this like slightly sloping concrete hill, and, again, I didn't have great coordination, so one of the toes of my water shoes kind of landed before anything else did, and I flew into the air. And the first thing that hit the ground was my face. But like, it didn't just like land on the ground and that was it. Like I was going downhill, and like friction is a thing that exists. So like my face slid on the ground and like tore my entire face up. And I ran back to my mom, and she was yelling, and I was like, Mom, again, not a good time. And I didn't realize at the time, but apparently it's not a good idea as a mother to bring your kid to the doctor looking like a comic book villain has interrogated him for the past, couple weeks. And so like my face was all torn up, but it worked out. I was okay. My face, it still doesn't look great, but it's okay. So I got to the age of 10, and I was on the soccer field. And I wasn't great at soccer, so I was not on the field. I wasn't playing with the first team. I was out of bounds, and I was a little bit bored. And I noticed that I had cleats on, and I noticed that the soccer goalposts had these little things sticking out, like these little metal tails. And I just thought to myself, I want to climb to the top of the soccer goalpost. So I decided to do that. So I put like one little cleat. And already I had like size 18 feet at the age of 10. And so I climbed up onto the first tail. And I was like, this is great. I'm getting some height. And I climbed up to the next tail. And I was at the point where I could reach my leg up and I could stand on the top rail. And I was so excited. And I put my leg up on the top rail and I slipped. And I started to fall, like Tower of Terror falling. And I tried to like bear hug the goalpost, but what ended up happening is I landed on, a man's most sacred possession on the first goalpost, thing sticking out. And then I fell again and landed on the next one. And so my dad, who's the coach at this time, is having like a really big crisis because he takes me back, to take a look to check out what happened. And he's got this like really big problem because on the one hand, he's got like 16 other 10-year-olds to manage. And on the other hand, his son's scrotum is bleeding. Epilogue. I apologize for any dates that I just ruined. Everything worked out. I'm not sure that I can have kids, but other than that, everything's okay. And, I got myself together, and I'm kind of proud to be a member of the Klutz Club, even though all these horrible things happen, because I don't take myself so seriously. And to those of you who might find yourselves to be klutzes just like me, I say, just sometimes watch where you're going. Thank you.